to the Author to Authority podcast. And today I am so thrilled to have on this show two very amazing young people who happen to be siblings. So today I'm going to introduce you guys to Raisa and Ali Baksh. And I really want to give them as much time as possible to share. But just quickly, both are authors, published authors, which is one of the reasons why they just had to be on the Author to Authority podcast. But not only that, they have an amazing message, not only to other young people, but to us adults as well. So welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So what I'd like each one of you to do is just talk a little bit about your story and your life and why you kind of came to this place that you want to be able to help other people.
All right, sure. So our story is actually intertwined with each other because we're both siblings. So Ali, do you want to take it off from the beginning, or how far do you want to go?
I'd say we'd go, okay, so Race and I have kind of been very entrepreneurial from a young age, starting at little businesses, not businesses, but little pop-up shops, you could say, just like here and there as we grew up.
Selling little bracelets and art pieces.
Exactly. And then doing like your little neighborhood stuff. But when it really happened is when Race and I first spoke on stage, which was at a public speaking, so at a speech competition, and that's where everything kind of really shifted. So she started doing it, first person in my school, and she loved it. Then I took after her, and I started doing it. And then with our love for speaking, we then also hearing like Les Brown and Tony Robbins and everything, we're like, oh, how do you do this? So then we went to a communications workshop. We took it. We then wrote our books. She spoke on stage with Bob Proctor. We both shared the stage with Bob Proctor.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Thanks.
It's amazing. And then we started a company. We held our first youth event in June of 2019. We became international bestsellers. We were featured on TV, and then we're also going to be featured in a magazine, and we recently became Guinness World Record holders.
You guys are amazing.
So it's kind of like a string of events, but going back to how Ali said, it started with our love of public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to speak on stage, one of the things was to write a book. And because we had written the book, it was kind of like our key pass to speaking on stage. And this happened in the summer because, like Ali said, we went to a workshop and it was like, okay, write the book, speak on stage. So we actually wrote both of our books in a week, and we motivated each other to do it. We got it published in a month, and then September we were speaking on stage.
Yep.
And that's how it kind of kick-started. And then afterwards we were like, we want to help more youth experience what we get to experience, because we would go to like all these real estate events and just public speaking events with a lot of adults, but not seeing a lot of teens. So we said, we want to bring that experience and teach kids about what we're doing, because we're so lucky and very grateful to do it. But, you know, this was part of our mission, and that's how we came up with APSOW. And APSOW
comes from our two titles of our books.
Go ahead.
So APSOW, Awesome People, comes from awesome teenagers. So that's that bit.
Because his book is called Teenagers Are Awesome. You just have to get to know them. And my book is called Make My World a Better Place, How to Live in Peace and Harmony with Others. So that's the Shaping Our World. APSOW is a lifestyle company that helps youth build their wealth, health, and fame. And we just kind of kicked off from there. Like Ali said, we had our youth conference in June, and we just kept going with a whole bunch of things.
That's cool. So tell me a little bit about this conference, because it is very unusual. It's very hard for adults to put on a conference, let alone young people. So talk about that a little bit more, what it was like planning it. Who did you like? Did you have to have help? You know, was there areas that were hard, or what areas were easy?
Perfect.
You want to go on that one?
I think, okay, yeah, I'll take a lead on this. So, Race and I's, our conference was called the it's called the Future is You
Youth Conference 2019.
Sorry, I just had the little off right now. And it took us about 6 months to plan it, and then the final day came and it was amazing. It started from 9 and ended at 4. We had a total of 50 people sign up, which was really amazing for our first youth conference.
Yes.
We had a lineup of different young speakers, so there were still a few older speakers in there, but our main focus, the main section of our speakers were actually under the age of 25, which was amazing, actually. And then from there, we also had sponsorships, so that helped cover a lot of the cost there. And my favorite part was actually coming up with these sponsorship packages and talking to people. I really enjoyed doing that, but also watching our ticket sales go up, and where it was like, oh, nothing's happening. It's been like 4 months and not one ticket's been sold.
It's stressful.
And then we raised to talk to our mentor, and he's like, if you just like, Race, do you want to explain what he said there?
I think it will. So one of the hardest things about events is actually selling tickets and getting people to show up. It's like you can market your event, you can have a great message, but it becomes really stressful when you just don't see any of those tickets move. So like Ali said, in 4 months, we had like 0 tickets sold, and I was kind of freaking out. And also I went to my mentor, and he said, I give you permission to let it go. I give you permission to forgive yourself. Because in those moments of stress, and you're putting on an event and you're working really hard, you tend to have like, I don't know, negative thoughts or negative energy harboring your success. So when he said that, I let it go. And that night, we sold our first ticket. 2 tickets. And it just started going up.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's holding you back until you actually acknowledge it. I couldn't pinpoint what it was exactly, but I just said, I let it go. And then it became more successful from there. But another hard part about actually putting on events is, going out and actually getting people to come. But it was really fun in that process. Even though it was hard, it was fun because Ali and I went to like shops. We were handing out flyers. We went into community centers. Oh my gosh, this is a great story here because our first event, where we were, the first place we were supposed to hold it at a community center, the community center burned down.
Yeah, it burned down.
Oh, wow.
So on our first youth conference that we were putting on, we had everything going for us. And then we're like, hey guys, guess what? The location there's no more location because it's currently on fire. So we made a little joke with it, but all in seriousness, it happened and everything's fine from that. But it was in that uncertain moment where I think having a support group is really awesome because without our support group, having fellow friends and our parents and our mentors next to us telling us, nope, this is okay. This might not be as normal as like other circumstances, but you're going to find that everything's going to be perfect. Everything is coming its way. And this was meant to happen for some reason that it will be understood soon. So having that kind of positivity and mindset saying it's okay, it's happening. This is just a little bump around. So you just gotta keep going. And literally burnt down. Yeah, so it was amazing. It was amazing. And then we found another community center very similar to it. So that was amazing. And also the content lined up for that week, that day actually was just amazing. Funny story is just the day before, Racer was getting, actually the week before our event, Racer was getting a award for her book. So she got that. Then our event happened, and right after our event, I left for New York for my graduation trip. So it was like everything was, there could not be room for mistakes because everything was lining up perfect. And then we were featured on TV like right after. Yeah, right after we came back. Right after we came back, actually, after I came back, we then wrote our chapters for the Magnetic Entrepreneur book, our volume 2. So that's how we became international bestsellers there right after. And after we did that,
Then
maybe
we went
2
on to
weeks down the road, we were shooting a TV series, not TV, episode.
So this is not to
Cool.
show off, but it was just like everything falls in place no matter how hard it comes. And it, like having, as Ali said, I just want to give a shout out to my family, because our parents, our family, like holy smokes, without them, this would not be possible. So just a little thank you. Yeah.
That actually transitions really well into the next question I wanted to ask you guys. And that is the role of the mentors, and, you know, two of your mentors obviously being your parents, but has having mentors in your life made that big difference?
Yes.
Yeah. I would definitely say it made a huge difference, actually, because our parents, they're still learning also, right? So to have somebody who's been able to share the stage, to have two people actually who've been able to share the stage with like biggest names in history, also going around into corporate environments too,
Yes.
putting on huge events, traveling from stages weekend back to back, and then also having that spiritual side to kind of not necessarily like religion-wise, but more centering yourself and you're like, oh, this is where I am. I can understand this is where upset is, and kind of finding a somewhat balance.
Mm-hmm.
And having that and their expertise and their keys and their skills really just, it was like a little head start. It's like if someone happened to move the finish line a little closer to us, but it was still up to us to, when we hear it, we got to still run. That's up to us to do it. They just happen to bring it a little closer.
I think that's, I agree with you there on closure. Your mentors, having mentors, they give you that kind of closure and safety to tell you what you need to do, but to tell you how to take action and to do those uncomfortable things. Like when you have a mentor, even though they're pushing you into uncomfortable situations that help you, you still have them kind of as a safety net. Like, you know, you'll go try things, you'll take action, you'll do it, and they give you that opportunity. But it's also about how they ground themselves. Like when you have a good mentor and they've been doing it for years, spreading their expertise, they have a sense of grounding that if you're freaking out, they're going to say, stop. Well, like, what are you doing? It's time to get to work, calm down, and get to work.
Exactly.
And our mentors have been very gracious to both of us, and they have been very kind, but they've also been straightforward. And I think that's the best thing about having a mentor, is having somebody tell you straightforward what you need to do for yourself, what you need to do for your business, and what you just need to do. Like, don't keep asking them. They will be there, but they'll say that's amazing. One of our mentors is very kind and like, okay, here I'll give you I'll give you the steps, I'll help you out. But our other mentor
is just figure it out.
Yeah, it's like throw you into the pool, throw you into the pond,
figure out how to swim, kind of. But that really helps though. Like
it does. With having a balance.
Exactly, with having the balance of throw in the pool and the other one, let me put on some floaties to keep you up for a bit, and then you can figure it out. Having the balance there really helps. And the one thing I like about it is one of the mentors actually learned from the other, which happened to be amazing, because we can make jokes here and there, but the good thing to remember is that your mentor is not supposed to be your friend. Like they will become your friend down the road, but having a friend as a mentor is one of the worst things you could have, because if your friend isn't, actually not the worst, because there are certain cases where a friend will be straight, and if you have a friend like that, that's an amazing thing that you want to keep close, right?
Good quality.
Exactly, a great quality to have actually as a friend. So with the mentor though, just having that straightforward, like you said, doing what you need to do, telling you, figure it out. I'll be here when just before to keep you up, but you need to figure it out. And with that, it helps us to develop the skills without them telling us, right? Oh, here, if you want to go first, do this. So with us figuring out, this is kind of what we have to do, helps build our own muscles of like, okay, next time we come up with an event, this is what we have to do. And then it just helps us create our own perspective, our own opinions on how things are supposed to be done, rather than them just telling us based off their experience.
Exactly. And just to add on to a little quick point there, we saw this balance of two different mentors throughout our youth conference, like as we're planning it. And because, you know, the other one was helping us giving the steps, the other one was throwing us in the pool, but still giving us that strength. And the other one was like supporting us. So having that balance just made it the process more easier and better to learn because you had that balance.
And you brought up that really good point about the fact that your mentor really shouldn't be your friend. Now, it doesn't, you know, like you said, over time, that mentor relationship does change. But, you know, when you're looking for a mentor, you want someone who's above where you're already at. You don't want to be mentored at the same level. You want someone who's been there and done what you want to do so that they can guide you through it. And so they kind of take you to the edge of the pitfall, but then they tell you how not to fall into the pitfall.
Take the leap of faith, kind of just right over it.
Exactly.
I really like about that is with a mentor. Now, it doesn't always have to be some like big shot, high name, right? Like our mentors happen to have like a higher record, but if you're in a certain situations, right? Having a mentor who's only like 3 or 4 or maybe 5 steps ahead of where you want to go, just going up to that person alone and like, oh, how did you do it? And learning from that, getting those 5-10 steps that you need to take right now, because they're still kind of with you. Yeah. They're still kind of in the range of you, but they just happen to be this much higher. With that, I really like, because they can kind of understand where you are. And then you can climb the ladder with them. And then once you reach those 10 steps, they're probably now 5 more steps ahead, so you can continue to grow. And that's what I really love.
Yeah, and it's not bad to, I kind of shook my head there where some person's at the same level, but like Ali said, it's not actually bad to have somebody at your level because it's relativity and you grow together. But having a mentor that is higher gives you that kind of steps. So when you're starting off, even 3 or 4 steps and you're equal to that person, you're building your foundation. Because without your foundation, your mentor that's way up here can't really assist you in a way because they're so up there and you still need to learn the basics. And I think, you know, as Ali and I are growing our business, that's one thing that we found. We had to keep going back to the basics, back to the foundation, because even though we were getting awards and going on TV and we're inspiring people, which is absolutely amazing, we still needed to go back to the foundation so that when we do get up here, we don't completely fall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think
that out.
I think, you know, that important concept is you need both. You need that mentor that's above you, right? But you also need your peer group as well. And your peer group may not necessarily be more of a mentorship, but you need those peers, those people at the same level or close to the same level as you are, because they get where you are and they can provide. Sometimes when you're working with a mentor, if they're so far above you, you think to yourself, do they even remember what it was like to be where I'm at right now? And that's, I think, where your peer group comes in, because they're at that. So they can give you that emotional, mental, and sometimes help you out with things that maybe a mentor can't. So I think you guys got the best of both worlds. You've got your parents who are, you know, incredible supports to you. You have mentors, but you also have a peer group that you're working with, and you guys are all rising together at the same time. So I think that's incredible.
True. And sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to add a point to what you're saying. Even if you don't have a peer group, just having one person that is your vision, because even though we have a peer group, really and truly, it's just me and Ali motivating each other.
Yes.
Like, we're very competitive, and I have to say, like, this kid, I'm 17 and he's 14. And even though we're doing this, he motivates me a lot and pushes me to do my best all the time. Like, for example, when we were writing our books, that is in the same week, right? 7 days, we have to write a book. So every day, you know, we would go out on bike rides, we'd go swimming, we'd still do our daily lifestyle things.
In the summer, exactly.
In the summer, still have fun, be kids, and get down to work, because that's what we needed to do.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can have a peer group, but just having somebody who is solid, who knows where you want to go, who knows your vision, supports you, motivates you, tell you straight up what you need to do, or, you know, motivate you in that sense, it's better. Because you can have like 3 or 4 people, and they might not do the one thing another person has to do.
Yeah, but also, see, kind of this is where Rach and I also have like our different opinions, right? Like multiple people are great. But
you are siblings.
Yeah, I would say one of the things that our mentors say, and I really understand now, because Rach and I have been with kind of moving around with seeing who's working, who's not. And what we really realized recently is with exactly what our mentor said. You can't ride 2 horses at once, right? You have to pick which one to stay on. So having a mentor for different sections of your life are great. Like having different people there to support that part of your life is amazing. But having more than one person in one area is not a great idea. I wouldn't suggest on that. Would you agree on that? Or?
No, I would agree on that for sure, because like you said, riding 2 horses doesn't make any sense, and you just get confused. And like we said before, if your mentor becomes your friend, then you're hurting somebody's feelings, and that's what you kind of want to avoid. So
also with that, when finding with your, oh my gosh, I just forgot what I was going to say there.
That's okay. Sorry, we kind of
happens to me all the time. Well, if you think of it, I'll give you a chance at the end, Ali. So I want to transition, because you guys talked about writing your books. And so I want you guys to each share your writing journey. So what was really good about it? And what was the hardest thing for you guys about writing a book? Now, you wrote them in a week, which is incredible, but I'm sure there was probably a couple of moments there where it just seemed really hard.
Do you want to go first? Okay, I'll go first then. Thanks. Actually, the hardest part was the beginning. So when we were getting into the writing program that we did, mine was just like, I had so many ideas about the world. I had so many things that I saw was like, man, there could be a solution. There could be like a new idea. There could be, something better, a better vision for the world. And the beginning was, I just could not pinpoint all of those ideas into one. And I had to go to, my mentor at the time for the book specifically and say, help me put my ideas into one so I could put this into a book. And it came down to it where I was kind of like bugging him. Oh, there's 2. So I was bugging one of them. I'm like, help me with my ideas. He's like, write about the world. And then I went to the other one. I'm like, so what should I title this book? And then he was like, make my world a better place. And that came up with the ideas. That came up with the solutions and the different perspectives. Because I like to be a very deep person. I like to analyze things. So when I was writing my book, that's what it was. It was just like authentic ideas and solutions to a lot of problems that I saw. That was kind of my writing journey. And I took a lot of time to put into it. Sometimes it was like writing on paper and then typing it out, or moving in different locations to get like better inspiration. But it was a great journey, to be honest. The only hard part was just at the beginning.
For my journey, actually, so having a very entrepreneurial spirit, me also growing up not enjoying reading and like not being that great at spelling. When someone with my grammar and everything, when I first heard someone was like, "Oh, do you want to write a book?" No. But then as we continued talking about it, the second a dollar sign popped up, I understand how I can make a nice big dollar sign. I was like, okay, I'm into this now, because I kind of find with myself, money is a huge like motivator for me. So with that, I did, in the original purpose of writing this book, Teenagers Are Awesome, just so they get to know them, was for my personal gain at the end of the tunnel. But within the midweek, I just kind of forgot about that, and that's where the real shift change was to actually helping them, and like helping build that connection there. And I write as I talk, so I did not type like any of my book. So I used a speech to text, which helped me so much. Like, well, I don't think I would have been able to write this book without a speech to text program there. And then all I just did was read through it, edit it up, and that was amazing. But I think what really helped Raisa and I the most was following the 90-20 rule, which means you work for 90 minutes and take a break you work for 90 minutes and then take a break for 20. And I think that's what we kind of did unconsciously. Like we'd be writing, we would go ahead. And one of the things that our book architect said is, when we were asking him, we can't come up with any ideas, what we should do, he said, eat chocolate and just write. I was like, what do you mean eat chocolate and just write? Just eat some chocolate and write.
Go for it.
So we actually did that, and man, he was actually right about it. Just focusing on yourself. Okay, just write. Don't worry about the spelling. Don't worry about if it's supposed to be a punctuation here, or change this adjective or whatever. That doesn't really matter in that moment. It's just continuing your train of thought, not stopping for the small things, and just keep going on that book. And with the little bike rides, the swimming, and just going into, like you said, the different places really gave us inspiration.
One day we'd be like, he'd be in his room, I'd be in my room. Then we're like, oh man, half the day we're on the kitchen table. The other half of the day we're in the backyard. The other half of the day we're outside on the porch. We're just in the basement, everywhere.
Yeah, and then we go to different bike rides, like our aunt's house, because she didn't live too far, so we'd bike ride, go take a lunch break with her, and then just bike ride back, continue writing. So it was just great having the ability and the freedom, actually, to be able to do these extra things outside just writing. Because what I really think is when writer block comes on, I think it's because someone's thinking about it too much. It's where they start to overanalyze and overthink. That's where writer block really kicked in, is when you start to overthink it. And having the leisure to be able to go outside and go for that stroll to just clear your head was amazing, and really just, it's not a rush, it's a journey, just enjoy it, right? So that's what my experience was.
You really gotta have fun with writing. Like Ali said about writer's block, it's just right. So I think a lot of authors, when they take like a year or two without like an accountability person, there's like a lot of procrastination, there's a lot of I don't know what to write, but you have to have fun with writing, whatever it is, like knitting or going out, or get into a space where you enjoy the journey, like you're living your writing journey at the same time.
And the amazing thing is that with writing, actually, if you in that moment were like, okay, going to something with your book, you become a very key person of influence if you know how to like use in different spaces. But what I've been able to observe recently is having a book with huge thought leaders is like an amazing way into opening up into becoming a key person of influence in that little space, in that little niche of being, go to this person, because it shows you're connected. One, you know where you're going. But once you have that book, amazing, it's time to write your own book, because then it shows you can come up with your own ideas. Kim, what do you think about that?
You know what? You guys, you nailed it. You nailed it. I've said that many times on this podcast. So you guys just hit the nail on the head there. So we only have a minute or two left. So what I would like each of you to do, just briefly, because probably most of the people, well, with the exception of probably your friends, but most of the people who are going to be listening to this, probably going to be adults, and probably a lot of them have kids. So I'd like you guys each to just share briefly what would be a message that you would want to give parents to help them raise adventurous kids.
Perfect.
Yeah, Ali is the expert in teenagers.
No,
so
okay. So for me, with when it comes to raising an adventurous person, or teenager or kid or whatever you want, or however you want them to turn out, that's the first thing that's wrong. It's not about, you shouldn't set an expectation upon your child to be something that you want them to be. As a child, you are just a creative and fun spirit running around playing. And as a parent, it's kind of you have to be able to see that's happening. And in certain moments, in certain frustration, even though they could be painting on the wall, yes, in that moment, it's frustrating. You could have just painted your walls over and they're painting it back. That just shows that, oh, mommy, or daddy, let me just put my own little touch to it. And kind of understanding and giving them a little bit of freedom to be able to do whatever they kind of need to do is the best thing that you can kind of do for your child. But also understanding that they are in the age of command. So whatever you tell your child, they will most likely do. Now, there might be a fuss here and there, but in the first 7 years of a child's life, you are writing a lot of their habits that they will not remember until they have someone to come in and say, oh, you picked this up from your parents. So you got to be very careful with the words that you tell them in the first few years. Like, going back to the painting on the wall, what are you doing? You can't do that, right? That's first thing. You probably put a barrier up on that child saying, oh, I can't paint. I'm not an artist. So that one section of them already gets cut off, even though you're trying to just get a short-term result out of it of just saying, don't paint on the wall.
Yes.
Don't paint on the wall. Here's a piece of paper instead, right? So shifting them away from the problem and putting them towards a solution, but not deteriorating their creativity.
Awesome. Well, we are at the end of our time together.
Yeah. I'm very sorry.
It's okay. I will be having you guys back again on the show for sure. So last thing I want you guys to do is, how can people get your books and how can they connect with you?
Okay, perfect. I'll take this one.
Go ahead.
Our books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and you can just look it up in Google. But you can also follow us on our social media. Facebook is APSOW, APSOW. You can also join our public Facebook group, which is called APSOW Adventures. So if you're looking to raise an adventurous child, join our group.
We're putting out weekly content.
Friday Q&As,
Sunday Facebook Lives, giving out different motivations, content, fun things to do at home. But also, we'll be launching I don't know if Race has said it, we'll be launching a 90-day mentorship program very soon, which will include a 90-day journal so they can go follow along with us. So having that bit of gratitude in there and reflection pages and quotes of the days to keep them motivated. Also creating the community like we're talking about, the accountability. So if that's something that ever interests you, either message us or contact Kim and she can send you over to us. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun to do, and we're very excited.
It will be, because right now, APSOW, our company, is really focused on creating more youth entrepreneurs, and we want to create a better future for the world. So you can also follow us on our Instagram at APSOW2019. And if you would like to email us, you can email us at apsow2019@gmail.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much to the both of you for being on the show. It has been an amazing interview, and I think people are just going to be so impressed by you two. I know I always have been. From the first moment that we met, you two have just encouraged me in ways that you don't even know.
Thanks.
So this has been the Author to Authority podcast, and we will see you on the very next episode. Bye now.
Bye.